Okay, in this video, I would like to demonstrate how to pin fabric when you're sewing. Before we get started, I want to talk to you about different kinds of pins. They come in different varieties and sizes, and they have slightly different purposes. So the first pin I want to talk to you about is the brass dressmaker's pin. This is going to be a multi-purpose pin. They are readily available and fairly inexpensive. Some people don't like working with them because there's no head on them, so it makes them slightly harder to work with. But then you find other more experienced seamstresses who really like working with this brass dressmaker pin. Alright, so next up we have the glass head pin, which is easier to work with because of the head on the pin. If you drop your brass pin, it may be harder to find, but this one will be a little easier to find, so it's a little easier to work with. Both the brass dressmaker pin and the glass headed pin, if you are ironing, you will be able to iron over those without the risk of melting the head like with this plastic headed pin. This one is slightly longer, and what we find as seamstresses or students who are just learning how to sew find that it's easier to master pinning when working with a longer pin. So we're going to use these pins to pin together our fabric. So I have 2 squares of fabric with the right sides facing each other, and I'm going to demonstrate pinning these in 2 ways. One way we're going to pin is going perpendicular to our seam. So I will sew my seam here, and I'm going to pin going perpendicular to the seam by entering the fabric, going down, and I'm going to use my left hand as a lever to support the fabric, keeping it flat as it comes out. I'll demonstrate again. In and out. That's the motion of your pinning, going perpendicular to your seam. Okay, and if I were to sew this on my sewing machine, I would be able to easily remove it, and if sewing by hand, I could remove that those pins. The next way I want to demonstrate pinning is going parallel to our seam, and we're going to go down into the fabric and then up, making sure that the head of the pin is facing you, down and up, keeping the fabric as flat as possible. And then as I sew, I'll remove my pins coming out. And that's it. That's 2 ways that you can pin your fabric, going perpendicular and parallel to your seam.